Hi there, this is Steve with the Spidey Files. So, I said in my last video that there was a reason why I was doing these videos, and that's because yesterday I did two things that haven't happened to me in over 30 years. The first was I went ice skating. Can you believe that? Decided to take my daughter ice skating, and I haven't done that since I was about maybe 20, and I'm 45 now. So, yeah, 25 years. And the second thing happened as well was that I actually did reasonably well at the ice skating, but at the end of the skate I fell and actually broke my arm. I haven't broken a bone in my body since I was about 14 when I fell down the stairs running for my paper round. That was my foot. So I've broken my arm, my elbow, and I'm going to be in a sling for the next 6 weeks, which is a real pain because I've got a lot of work on at the moment, and it's a real inconvenient thing to not have an arm. And I'm right-handed too, and it's my right arm. So I quickly got over the fact that I broke my arm. It was kind of interesting because as I fell, I knew I'd done something bad. Um, yeah, anyway, luckily it's nothing too serious. I don't have a cast, but I'm going to have it totally immobilized for 6 weeks. So, to my point, I'm now kind of, I shouldn't, I'm not an fully able-bodied person at the moment, basically, because of my arm. And so I'm having to get creative. So having one arm is quite interesting, and definitely sympathise with some of my non-able-bodied friends who have to find different ways of doing things. And I've already worked out quite a lot of ways of getting around and doing the jobs I normally do with one arm. So this morning I made my breakfast as usual. I had to get a bit creative about how I cut the cheese, but everything else I could do. It was a bit slower than usual, but it actually gave me a bit of time to think about what I was doing and the activity I was actually taking part in. And also the eating of the food was pretty slow. So actually forced me into eating slower, which is actually a good thing because for anyone that knows me, I'm a fast eater. Always struggled with that my whole life. So eating slower is good, but also taking time in preparation and doing things and actually thinking about things, I think was really good. So in fact, having a little bit of a disability here is giving me some pause for thought. So there's lots of other things you can do to help when you only have one arm. So for instance, I've asked for help from people, but tried not to ask for too much help. Actually did a little bit of work that I had outstanding today, some manual labour, DIY type stuff, which I did with one arm with a little bit of help. And also with regards to IT, many would think, oh crap, if you lose the use of your arm when you work in IT and you have to type, that's a pain. But I've finally worked out how to use my phone properly and use a lot of the voice to text and some of the accessibility features, which I'll talk about later. So there's definitely ways around it. And also, I'm going to have to properly delegate. So I have people in my team that I don't always properly delegate to. So actually having this arm thing is going to actually force me to delegate. So that's a little bit of an epiphany I guess I had from thinking about having less. But I think this leads me to my second point, and this is about scarcity. So I've talked about this quite a bit to people in the past, that this scarcity thing in startups is actually really good. It actually gets us to think in creative ways and think differently. So sometimes you can just have it too good, and if you're spoilt, then you actually get lazy. So I think having less can be good. Definitely having the loss of half of your body, or a quarter of your body, however you want to call it, gets you to think creatively. And I think in our own businesses and startups and communities, that is a thing to think about. How can you how can you limit yourself? So for instance, me not being able to eat faster has actually forced me into eating slower and thinking about my food today. Maybe with startups, having less can be a way for us to actually pause and think about what we're doing, as opposed to rushing right into hiring and ordering things and spending money and jumping into partnerships and relationships that we maybe shouldn't be jumping into. So maybe think about less is more, and that's a powerful thing. Definitely you see that in the maker community. A lot of us will really scrimp around to do things in creative ways, whereas you go to places like Silicon Valley where the money is very freely flowing. It can be great to have those resources available to you, but also it can make you lazy. So anyway, it's food for thought. I've spoke for 5.5 minutes now on that. I'm going to do a follow-up video which is all on accessibility features of phones, which I've learnt a fair bit about in the last day. But as a result of being partially disabled, I am going to do more videos. So this is the start. Thanks for listening.